Hi everyone and welcome to Words That Inspire by Choosable. So today I was watching an interview Trevor Noah did on a podcast and something he said his mother always told him sort of inspired me. So according to him, his mother or either his mother or his grandmother said each generation needs to be better than the next. And so he told the story of how hard his grandmother had to work to make a slightly better life for her daughter, that's his mom, and what his mom had to go through to make a better life for him. And the lesson from that being each generation needs to be better than the next. The interview as a whole, um, I mean, it was pretty good. Most of the interviews he does are really good. So I am gonna post a link below to the main interview. But just I was inspired by that one quote. Each generation needs to be better than the next. And it got me to thinking because when I look at my own life, I can definitely say that that is true for me. With both my paternal and maternal grandparents, I know what they, I've heard stories of what they did and how they lived to provide a good life for their children and to ensure that their children had better than them. And I also know how hard my parents have worked to make sure my siblings and I have a better future than they did. I mean, it's not like they have a bad future, but they want us to have better than they did. So there are times I've heard my mother say her prayer is that her children will exceed her, or that her children will excel farther and higher than both my parents. And I think that's true. So those just his interview made me remember just my own family and how each generation has lived to make the next one better. And it made me think, what am I doing today to ensure that the generation after me is going to be better? What am I doing today to ensure that the generations after me have a better life, have a better future than I do? And I guess I'm posing that same question to all of us. Like, it's not something I think I've thought about. I mean, of course, you want to focus on making sure you are living a good life today and keeping an eye out for your own future and what's going on with you. But really, at the end of the day, we also need to make sure we're keeping an eye out for the future. Is what you are doing today going to be beneficial for your children and your children's generation? Because something else Trevor mentioned in the interview that I find to be true is sometimes we're under the impression that our own stuff, that nothing else matters except what's happening with us. We focus so much on ourselves and not on what's going on with other people because either we're just selfish like that or so focused on ourselves and we forget that what happens to us affects others and what happens to others affects us as well. So what are you or what are we doing today to ensure that the generations that come after us are better prepared to have a better future to excel further than we are in terms of our spiritual lives, what we're learning financially, what we are passing down about morality, what we're passing down about our relationship with God and with other humans, what we're passing down about finances and how to do with it and setting goals and how to be a good human being and how to navigate the world and emotional maturity and just in every single area we can think of. Are we doing enough today to ensure that the generations after us are better prepared, better equipped to face life and have a better future than we do? Even for those of us that don't have kids now, it's definitely not too early to start thinking about it. I mean, those of us that don't have kids and definitely plan to have children in the future, it's not too early to start thinking about it and to start considering it. So I was just so inspired by the quote. Again, the interview as a whole, um, was just really, really good, really marvelous. I think it's a podcast with Pharrell and two other people. But the link will be below. And again, I'm just leaving each and every one of us with this thought: is what you are doing today going to ensure that your children and the generations that come after you will have a better future? And if and or another way to think about it is, what are you doing today to ensure that your children and the generation that comes after you will have a better future? You know, in the Bible, one thing I definitely remember, I think it's in First Kings chapter 15, verse 4. It was either Solomon's son or Solomon's grandson. So David's great grand or great great grand child was kind of living life like, I usually say, living life like a fool, essentially not following God's instructions and living how his forefather did. And God would have wiped him out, but he remembered David. He remembered David. Kings 15, verse 4. He remembered King David and he said, because it is recorded in the Bible, because he listened to every command from God, and God remembered his promise to David and spared whoever that descendant was, and allowed him to have a son who succeeded him, because that was his promise to David, that his descendants will always be on the throne. And it just sort of ties into what we're talking about. So we know what it was that David did that ensured the generations after him continue to have a relationship with God, and got to a place where even when they misbehave, God said, "Ah, because of David, I am going to spare these ones." So just, as we think about David's story, and if you do listen to Trevor's interview, that interview, and just thinking in general in your own life, whether you had generations of parents and grandparents and family, whether they worked hard to create a better future for you or didn't, whichever side of the coin you fall on, I am pretty certain we understand how important it is to ensure that those coming after us, especially our children, live better than we do, operate better than we do, and we want to teach them and equip them so that they have a better outcome than wherever we currently are. So again, I'm just um gonna leave us with this thought, I guess, food for thought. Is what you're doing today going to cause God to remember a promise with you when you are no longer here? Will God look favorably on the generations that come after you because of relationship with Him? And is there anything you're doing today? Anything, if you look at how you're living your life today, if you look at how you're teaching your children today, will it allow your children or the generations after you to have a better future than you do, to live better, to excel higher than you are doing, or that you excel higher than you? So that's my food for thought today. Just leave me a comment below, and let me know what you think. Remember this.